Yesterday, I talked about how, in one word, trust is the winning philosophy for marketing in 2026. Today, I learned something called the trust equation. Let me tell you how I got there. I created another NotebookLM experiment this morning. This time, I started in Claude. I've been thinking about workshop facilitation. I'm trying to build a framework for a workshop I can bring into a small or medium-sized business to help them implement new technology. This doesn't have to be AI. It could be a CRM or any new tool or process. So here's what I did. I started in Claude. I created this 15-page overview document, and then I loaded that into NotebookLM. Then I went back to Claude. I used that to engineer a prompt for NotebookLM, which contained my primary idea plus a couple of secondary themes: adult learning principles, change management principles. Then I'm giving these major concepts, right, that I want to explore. I'm giving all of that to NotebookLM. Then I asked NotebookLM to do deep research. Click the deep research thing. Find more sources. In the end, I have 35 sources, and I've used all of that. I created a 7-minute explainer video and a 14-minute podcast and this 15-slide presentation. Now, I've got about 2 hours in this entire project so far this morning, including the time that it's taking me to explain this to you right now. That's how fast and efficient this process is. The 7-minute video is fantastic. I highly encourage you to watch it. If any of this is interesting to you, comment the word notebook here again, and I'll send you the link to this notebook today. Otherwise, the 14-minute podcast, again, you can just listen to that in the car. Let that all wash over you. Meditate on all of this stuff. Anyway, the slideshow I just posted into LinkedIn as well. But there's one takeaway I really want to focus on here: the trust equation. So here's the formula: trust equals credibility plus reliability plus intimacy divided by self-orientation. Reliability means you do what you say you're going to do. You show up, right? Credibility means you know what you're talking about. You know your stuff. Intimacy means there's a genuine connection with the person. The person feels comfortable with you and they feel safe. But here's the key: self-orientation. That's the denominator. You can max out your credibility and be reliable and build intimacy, but if your self-orientation is high, if you're focused on yourself, then you divide all of the rest of the way. So the key to the trust equation is not being self-centered. I think this applies to the content you create. It applies to how you approach your relationships. I've always been an advocate for relationship-based selling. And it's not just about sales, it's also about internal relationships within your organization. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. Help them. You are a servant. You're there to help your customer. And if you treat people like that, you don't just say it. That's the reliability piece. You actually deliver it from a genuine position of care. Call it brotherly love. You treat them like a family member. You help them solve their problem. In sales, if you treat people like this, they will continue to buy from you. They'll refer their friends to you. You don't have just a transaction at the lowest price. You have a long-term relationship. And you know what? That feels good too. It feels good for them. It feels good for you. It's fulfilling. Let's stick on that word for a minute: fulfillment. You're fulfilling your destiny. You're fulfilling a need for them. That's business 101. Solve problems. It's not about taking their money. The money is a natural byproduct of the service that you provide. So the trust equation applies directly to sales situations, but it also applies to facilitation, conversations within your organization, whether that's a leader implementing a new process with their team or the act of documenting your business processes. That brings me to the second biggest takeaway from this research. It's this idea called the chasm. The presentation explains it better than I can, but this is the core concept. When you're rolling out something new, you have your innovators and then you have your early adopters, and they will try anything. But how do you cross this chasm from the early adopters into the majority. The key to it is preparation. Let me explain. If we're implementing new tools or processes within an existing team, the key is to prepare them with the why. What's in it for them? How is this going to make their job easier? How is it going to make their job more pleasant? How are we going to reduce friction? This should not be about hyper efficiency, squeezing every last drop out of the turnip. Frankly, that's a selfish perspective from the management. And if your employees perceive that, it will create more friction. So the key, once again, is to be genuine with your intent. If you're genuine with your intent and you prepare them for the change, then you can build a bridge across the chasm. If you get this wrong, you damage trust and you create that chasm yourself. Now, let's look at this from a product perspective. Same concept. All of the same principles apply. It's just a different scope. If you have a new product you're trying to roll out into the market, you'll have that 2% that are the innovators. They'll buy no matter what. Then you have the next 10 to 15% that are early adopters. They're easy to get on board. But how do you get to the next group, the early majority? How do you cross over that chasm? Again, it's preparation. This is your top of funnel, middle of funnel. You're doing education, you're building awareness, and you're doing it from a position of trust, high reliability, high credibility, high intimacy. You have this relationship with your audience, even at a full market scale. You focus on those three aspects of relationship building. You establish trust. And if you do this from a position of service, it's a multiplier. You build a bridge across that chasm. Your prospect, your client, your customer, they will be more receptive. They will internalize those benefits for themselves. Because let's face it, most people are thinking about themselves. That's okay. That's human nature. We're going to serve them anyway. We're going to help them solve their problem. And in exchange, they will give you money along the way. They will refer you business. They will continue to treat you as the expert that you are. And they'll keep buying your product or service. So that's the trust equation. And that's the chasm. Two frameworks that really click for me today. Both of them point to the same truth. Serve people, be genuine, build trust. If you want to explore this full notebook that I built, there's a link in my bio. Or comment the word notebook and I'll send it to you. Click the studio and you'll find the 7-minute video, the 14-minute podcast, all of the slides, several reports. I built this all exactly for this conversation. I hope you find it useful and follow me for more.